Hopefully, we strengthen and sign some players in the summer because we are going to lose some. That is Declan Rice on Arsenal's summer plans. Do you lot agree or disagree with what he's saying, people? Can't imagine you don't agree, but you never know. This is an all inclusive platform. So smash the like button, get your thoughts in. And I mean, Declan Rice is, he's a breath of fresh air. He's obviously a good player, whether he's going to play in a six or what he's been doing this season and last year as an eight, the way he fronts up and shows character on the pitch as well as off it for a bunch of reasons. Declan Rice, Mr. Fantastic, really and truly. It's like you've been at this club for a million years, man. And I actually think you're going to go down. When I say the term legend loosely, I'm not saying you're ever going to be where, Wenger and Tony Adams and Omri and all of those, but I do think you're going to go down in Arsenal folklore. But we do need to win some trophies in which we've had 3 years, whatever you have to say, different reasons, different dynamics, different talking points. The bottom line is we haven't got over the line. We haven't got a trophy. And I say this and I still maintain it. If I feel sorry for anybody at the football club or connected to this football club that obviously works for the football club and has an impact on if we celebrate stuff, it's the players. They've been ran into the ground. They haven't been given reinforcements from those above, either in the summer or January. I've seen players that we don't necessarily rate step up and do well and show character. People have played with injuries. Obviously, they're on the pitch, and naturally, we all have to take accountability. We all share the wins, W's, and draws together. But I feel sorry for the players. I feel the players and the fans by this football club, by Mikel Arteta, those above him, excluding Bert because he wasn't here, the owner, you've shortchanged and you haven't delivered on your promise this year. You haven't put your best foot forward. Start as you mean to go on. You see the summer. If I was a player, I'd be looking at the people above Mikel Arteta, if I'm honest with you, because I keep saying this, assume Mikel Arteta, which I don't believe this, didn't want anybody signed in January. If you're above Arteta, you can see our players are being ran into the ground. In that January period, we're trying to salvage what we can salvage. We needed reinforcements. Now, you can tell me until the cows come home about powder dry and no players and this, that, and the third. And there are validities to that. But at the end of the day, it's a results-driven business. We tried to win games. If we don't necessarily win games, we have to go back to the drawing board. And it was predictable. And it feels like the final bit of juice that this squad had was utilized in the 2 legs against Real Madrid. And it's yeah, man, our season's done this week against Southampton. Commiserations to them for getting relegated and whatnot. Declan Rice hoping for, let me know your thoughts on that, but Declan Rice hoping for signings as Gunners look to bridge gap to top spot in the Premier League. Now, Declan Rice has been very vocal. Did he not say in January, I'm sure the manager wants to sign players because Tini's been playing left wing? Sometimes, maybe there's too much chattings. Room for improvement. Rice hopes Gunners will strengthen this summer. What specifically has our midfielder said? After coming so close last year in the Prem, this year we were poor. Let me start again. After coming so close last year in the Prem, this year we were by our standards poor. Let's be real. Let's be real, man. You can do this excuses thing. The man who's playing for us has said such, people. To go out of every cup competition and the Champions League with the team we've got and the manager we've got, we need to be competing for titles. We can't be taking anything for granted. I wish those above you, Berta, work your magic. Those, Berta and beyond, I hope they hear these claims. Hopefully, we strengthen in the summer, sign more players because we are probably going to lose a few as well. We're going to come back next year and be ready, be stronger, and even more hungry to win something for this club. That's what we all want. What has Arteta said? There are so many variables that can happen, but there's a budget. There's always an idea of what we can do, what we can improve, what the priorities are going to be, and then let's see if we can do it. There's no seeing. It needs to be done, man. Rice has also spoken. We've gone over the poor stuff. He then spoke on the game against Newcastle, in which he obviously scored people. We went so hard in the Champions League that our form dropped in the Premier League. That happens sometimes, but Newcastle are such an informed side and probably should have smoked us by 3-4 goals in that first half. And we've lost 3 games to them this year. The manager's message before the game was clear: make it personal. I think we did today, and you saw everything spill over at the end. I think we started well. First 10 minutes, I think we started well. We had Newcastle in their own half and whatnot. The game kind of opened up. Newcastle showed us what they're about and their personality. If it wasn't for David Raya, apart from that, where he rectified his mistake with that nonchalant pass, Newcastle probably kicking themselves. We as Arsenal fans know goals change games. They could have killed the game. Now, unfortunately for them, they didn't. And as an Arsenal fan, that's one of the only times this season and I know it means nothing beyond just winning and solidifying Champions League football, we've probably been on the right side of the 5 margins. Anyone that watched that game knows we had chances and we did dominate possession, but Newcastle had way more clear-cut chances than us and probably should have put the game to bed, but they didn't. We won. We paint the narrative of clean sheet, 3 points, let's go. I think this club has owed David Raya a lot of clean sheets this season. He's still in contention for the Golden Glove going into the last game of the season. Make sure we bring it home, man. The first half was a bit of a slow start, but we grew into the game, and we did start the second half decent, in my opinion. And we showed that grit and 3 points at home. It was a nice day to top it off. What else has he said? We're Premier League footballers. We need to be at that level every single week. We felt like we had such a good chance in the Champions League, and with the league, it kind of slipped away a few weeks ago. It was really tough to take, but today to win was massive, and obviously Newcastle was such a good side. About time I started scoring frequently. I like that finish a lot, where on I can whip it on top of the ball across the keeper. It was a special moment, and I'm really happy. Fair play, man. Rice has also said we've gone over that. I think, yeah, he's spoken about the strength. Arteta has spoken about creating our own history. We had a dream. It was to be here or in a week's time and bring the big trophies to you guys, and we couldn't do it for many circumstances. Many circumstances. Bottom line is you didn't do it, and it's you lot that are going to have to sit with a feeling that is all too familiar for this football club in the last 3 years when we got back into these conversations. We need to make sure that chasing the dream doesn't get blurry, and make sure we chase the dream with positivity and enthusiasm for next season. But we also need to approach it with competencies. Like, we can do people can bury their head in the negative sand and behave like we're the shittest club ever, which some Arsenal fans do. Some can bury their heads in the sand and do the courageous thing and act like we're so unlucky. Just be competent. I know it's not everything. You know what you need to do in the market. You know what you need to do from a tactical front to evolve. Do that, and we have a better chance. Stop all this romance and emotion, and let's just look at the basic competencies. 3 years now, the same ending. Regardless, the same ending. Good moments. We're a good team, but now it's about being a great team. Great teams get etched in history. Great teams get over the line. Great teams are painted in narratives. It's not the same. We're going to finish above Newcastle and Crystal Palace, for example. And I'm not saying I'll trade seasons with them, but probably pound for pound better team than all of them. Good players and whatnot. They're going to be remembered in history. The Newcastle players, 70 years, you lot ended the trophy drought. Crystal Palace, first trophy in their history. Now, obviously, things are adjusted at the clubs, and I'm not saying we're the biggest and baddest, but that's my point. They're etched in history. Whatever happens for both of them sets of players, they're etched in history. There's nobody 20 years from now is going to remember 2022, 23, 23, 24, or 24, 25. Maybe the Madrid game and the City game and that, it will be what looked on, but it's not a trophy. It is what it is, man. It is what it is. Arteta's vowed to keep chasing the dream next year. You're getting paid 15 million a year. You have to. You have no choice. I'm really happy with the result. It was a really, really tough game. We knew that from the beginning that they are in really good form, and we had to wrap it up. It was a lot of pressure for both teams, for us to finish second and make sure that the Champions League was guaranteed. We have managed to do that in a really convincing way, and now on to the last game, and then summer plans reset and go again. We had highs, and the size of the dream was put into delivering a big trophy. That was the aim at the start of the season, and unfortunately, we cannot deliver that. But make sure that chasing the dream doesn't blur you, doesn't take all the incredible things that this football club is doing, the players are doing, the team is doing, because that's the icing on the cake. That's the point. We want the icing on the cake. We know we're a good team, good players, competitive. We like all of that. The only conversation is getting over the line. So we can't keep waffling about those things. It's over the line business. And because of what we didn't do in the summer, we've got further. We was almost at the finish line, and we're further away now. We are really trying, and we put the expectations really high. We're going to do the same, but with enthusiasm, not just with but if no, we cannot play like this. We should not do that. We're going to try to be better. I'll be the first one and go again and start the season in the manner that this football club deserves. Fair play, man. Fair play. Thank you to you guys for the highs and lows that you lot have been on my channel, riding those pause with me as an Arsenal fan or football fan. I'm really grateful. Thank you so much for staying and supporting the players, the staff, myself, the club. It's an incredible connection that we have built over the years. We have experienced some of the best memories that this stadium has had in the last 15, 20 years. We still have many more to come. So let's all push together, and it's going to happen. Fair enough. Now, before the game, Josh Kroenke spoke. You don't really see him speak. Big up the women's team, who we hope you bring home the Champions League next Saturday. I just want to see what actually matters where the men's team, pardon me, is concerned. Despite not reaching the Champions League final in Munich, our run to the semi-final of the competition still created some of our best nights this season. Our match against Real Madrid was one of the best games and most electric atmospheres we've experienced at the Emirates Stadium. The game we played at the Bernabeu will no doubt live forever with those lucky enough to have been there. Mikel and his coaching staff, as well as the players, faced some challenges throughout the season. I want to give credit to the way they've managed in those circumstances. It's in these moments you learn the most. We learned. Now we're going to see if you lot want to be winners, because forget Arteta and forget the players for a second. January told me all I need to know about those above, with the exception of Berta, because I can criticize the players, their ability and whatnot. I feel sorry for them. I can't criticize their willingness to want to get this club to where it needs to go. Obviously, they fell short. Mikel Arteta, I think there's many things you've got to address, and I'm not being no Mikel Arteta apologist. I'm not saying you need to leave, but I think your heart's in the right place. Those above evidently need help now. Now this summer is going to tell me everything I need to know about the club, everything, and you're all in this because at the end of the day, I kind of cut an excuse for the manager there. You signed a new contract, so you must think you can achieve, regardless of how you might feel about people above you. You must feel you can do what needs to be done. But as much as I like you, and it's a very different stuff at Atletico at Arsenal, you clearly believe you can do what needs to be done, regardless of how people feel about the owners. This summer's going to tell me everything. In previous years, we're as Arsenal fans, we've had this thing where we might need for example, an 8 and a 6, so 2 centre mids. But we only know we're really getting one. So some would say 50, you ask 100 Arsenal fans, 50 might say, yeah, get a 6, get an 8. Dead that. Striking is needed. Left wing is needed. Centre mid is needed. Outgoings are needed. Players that improve the starting 11 is required. General depth. I'm no physio, but every fragment of this club needs to be put under the microscope. I'm no physio, and forgive me for being very naive, but we kept players fit last year. We did it now. How do we do better at that? How do the players do better at that? Players that have form has fluctuated. How do I get more consistency? We're carrying too many players now. We have to be cruel to ourselves to be kind. It's simple as that. But anyways, moving on from that. So yeah, man, we obviously won the game and whatnot. So I'm trying to skip through some of these things, man. We plan to invest to get behind winning and doing better next season. We're delighted to have our sporting director, Andrea, who will play an important role in this. He is part of a unified and strong team supported by the board, who are crystal clear on exactly what we need to do and the way in which we want to do it. The right way, the Arsenal way. Ultimately, we all want the same thing. We're as hungry for success as you. No, you're not. Josh Kroenke and those above, you're not. You're not. I think Arteta's hungry. I think the players are. It's more how we're going about it. You're not. I think Berta is. You're not. Because you don't. This was very predictable. But anyways, and that goes for everyone who works for the club. I have no doubt. I'm talking about the real decision makers, the head honchos. I don't know. I'm not talking about the dinner lady and everyone and the players and everyone that keeps the heartbeat of this football club. Stop chatting nonsense to me. We have brilliant people right across Arsenal, true. And I want to thank every member of staff for the dedication they have shown again this season. It's something we've reflected on this week and it never goes unnoticed. Again, big up Arsenal's community and big up all of that kind of stuff. But yeah, again, the time for talk is done. Mate, just deliver. That's it. Just deliver. Because again, if we had the summer last year, which we can't go back in time, that we all would have wanted, like, let's just say, we got quality additions to the starting 11 and we had substantial depth. If we still had these injuries, I would say fair enough, because it's more of a case of how did we get here? Like, you put your best foot forward. I'm not a physio, but are we really confused that, you look at player welfare? A lot of these players have played for their club and country a lot of minutes in the last few years, and it's not going to stop, especially for those players that have played the season now, going to play for their countries. If your team is competing in the club World Cup, and then you're doing pre-season and there's a World Cup next year, it's predictable. Declan Rice, Martinelli, Kai Havertz, Bukayo Saka, Gabriel Magalhaes, 5 players or so, hamstring injuries is predictable. And then, you're playing players, you're risking players. Respectfully, I like Martinelli and Trossard. I think Trossard was quite good against Newcastle. These are players that throughout certain points of the season, they're going to bag week in, week out. Then they're going to go on droughts. I'm not criticizing them. It's just, we know this. Goals win games. We do not have enough of that. We don't have enough depth. We haven't got enough flexibility tactically. We've not been able to keep people fit this year. Even in the last 3 years, we've seen massive injuries this year. Last year, relative clean run, even though Timber, Tomiyasu, and Rice were all injured. Last year, Saliba got injured. Like I said at the start of this, 3 very different contexts. Bottom line is we haven't got over the line. I'm past the point of criticizing and whatever. Let's be harsh on the problem. How have we not got over the line? How do we get over the line? And Arteta's got to reinvent himself. The players have got to reinvent themselves. People with Berta, because Berta can have all the ideas. If you're not moving how he needs to move, because he has shown with his CV he can do things. If you're not doing what he needs you to do, then we're not going nowhere. No single man or woman is going to get this club to where it needs to. We need to sing from the same hymn sheet. And we need to stop this kumbaya, courageous loser stuff. Like, it's not even talking about it being good or bad. Let's just look what's in front of us. We've dropped too many points from winning positions. We've drawn too many games. The squad is too small. We've not had any flexibility. Yeah, despite this, we've got to 2 semis, but we have not got over the line. It's as simple as that. Sorry for ranting. Which club needs Gyökeres this season, or better yet, this summer, people? 17 assists, 62 goals in 56 games. Quality stuff. Get Gyökeres done, Berta. In Berta, we trust. Gyökeres will certainly leave Sporting this summer for a fee of around 65 million. He was in tears after winning the Portuguese league people. And he will be playing in the cup final against Benfica next weekend or next week, people, before obviously whether it's Arsenal, Chelsea, Man United, or anyone that's linked with him, he will be moved on, people. He's broken his silence, apparently, people. I mean, he's not going to say much, really, is it? It's football. I'm still here. I don't know what's going to happen. Nobody can predict the future. Fair enough. Apparently, you know, Berta really likes him, as we know already. Apparently, the sporting director has grown tired of him leave of the speculation. Gyökeres was leaving in the summer a year and a half ago. Gyökeres was going to leave anyways. We were champions, and he was already leaving. In January, it was impossible, and it remains so. I'm not going to add to it. It's already very media driven, and it's not worth talking about the summer market. Fair enough. Arsenal have also been linked with potential alternatives, which include Liam Delap, who apparently is going Man United, and Cunha's actually, Romano spoke about Cunha. Seems like Man United, sorry, getting that over the line. Isaac is going to prove too expensive. Stop putting Isaac and Arsenal in the same sentence. It's getting quite mundane. You know, every journalist and their dog is saying Arsenal and Gyökeres are advancing to get a deal over the line. He's got a willingness to sign for us. We've got a willingness to want him. Sporting will be happy to let him go for 60 million. We keep hearing this, but apparently Mikel Arteta is in disagreement with Arsenal director Andrea Berta over which striker to sign. Arteta would prefer Benjamin Sesko, but Berta is pushing for Gyökeres. Brother, I like Sesko. I like Gyökeres. I like what Sesko could become. I'd like both. But I just would like Gyökeres right now. You're kind of ready-made. Like, I do think you can never stop future-proofing. But I think we talk too much about the past. We talk too much about the future. There's never really a sense, I feel, at my football club that we're about seizing the truly living and breathing in the present moment and getting things over the line. And I think Gyökeres would provide that. And it's not the same, but I think Berta might be on that bit of school of thought, because you've gone from being linked with Sesko, still linked with Sesko, but it seems more aggressive on the Gyökeres front. Seemed like Partey was leaving. That seems to be changing. Seems like Trossard might have been sacrificed. Seems like that's changing. We don't know, because anything can still happen, but you get the point. Arsenal, Liverpool, and Chelsea are all interested in signing Sesko, but none will meet Leipzig's asking price of over 84 million. He's probably going to have to dig his heels in. They're not going to get Champions League football. They face the prospect of losing him and Xavi Simons, in which the accountants will like it because they're going to make a lot of money. What is this? Arsenal apparently have offered a lucrative contract to Gyökeres, which equates to an annual salary of 9 to 10 million, and he will sign until 2030. So that's a 5-year deal, taking him over to 31, assuming he's 26, turning 27. I don't know when the birthday works out, but you get the point. It will take 65 to 70 million euros to swoop him. Real Madrid, Barcelona, Chelsea, and Manchester United all allegedly are keen on him, and they've all been name dropped there, as you can see, people. The plan remains the same for Juventus. Vlahovic will be sold this summer. His contract ends in 2026, and there's no plans to extend. People, draw what you want there. Arsenal are reportedly plotting a move for AC Milan superstar Rafael Leao in the event that they part ways with Martinelli. Bringing in a left winger is irrelevant to whether Martinelli's staying or going. It needs to happen. We're eyeing a summer move. Rafael Leao is one of the players Arsenal have been looking at. They've been looking at him since the start of the season, and potentially beyond that, because there's a problem they're aware that they have problems in. He's very direct, very quick and skillful, which is exactly the type of winger they're looking for. He likes to go at his man, stretch teams, and make a difference going forward. Would you not have Leao? I think Arsenal have lacked that type of player this season, because apart from Saka, they don't have decisive players in the final third who make a difference. You could have said that last summer. I don't want to keep talking about the past, but if nothing changes, nothing changes. It's very naive. That is extremely romantic and naive. West Ham would accept bids of around 65 million for Kudus, with a queue in Saudi Arabia. What does that mean? With a clue in Saudi Arabia ready to formalize their interest in an offer. Did quite well, I feel. Not quite well, that's an exaggeration, but it was interesting watching him off the left for West Ham against Nottingham Forest. Arsenal, Manchester United, Aston Villa are all interested in the Athletic Club midfielder Orhan Sanchez, who has an 80 million euros release clause. What we saying to that? Apparently, Crystal Palace are open to bids for Eze this summer, with his release clause set at 68 million. Spurs are admirers. United and City are ready to join the race. Surely that's something we should be doing.